I have had depression since I was about 16 years old. I always had self-esteem issues since I was a little girl. Properly had depression since I was about 16 years old, and I was only diagnosed when I was about 22 years old. I've been through some quite traumatic experiences during my teen years as well as my early adult life. And I kind of buried it. So when I was diagnosed, when I was 22, it all became very clear as to why life was so difficult. Really, really difficult. Towards the end of my degree at university, I had just become this anxious, shivering, terrified mess of a person, which really alienated me from all of my friends and my peers. I could kind of switch it off whenever I had to perform because I've always had a really professional attitude. Due to me being a member of a music school in Harrow called Harrow Young Musicians, my discipline when it came to performing and appreciating that an audience had paid to see you and meant that you always had to reciprocate your appreciation of them being there. The best way of doing that is to give the best performance that you can despite whatever else is going on in that moment, in that here and now moment, for you to give absolutely everything to them by thanking them for being there, and also to look like you're grateful for them being there. So I've always had a really professional attitude, even as a teenager when it came to performing. So doing a music degree meant that I could kind of switch off how I was really feeling when I had something musical to do, or even just having a musical discussion with someone. I felt like I could put on this different person to mask how I was really feeling. However, by the end, as I said, by the end of my degree, I was a total mess, and I ended up like pushing everyone away from me, bar a couple of people that were brave enough and like honest enough to admit that they didn't know how to deal with me, because I was so anxious of being outside, and every time that I went out and I had something to drink or whatever, I thought I was going to die, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack, and so I'd start panicking, and they just didn't know how to help. So people stopped wanting me to be around, which really hurt my self-esteem, which made me worse, and it was this horrible vicious circle. I got therapy, multiple therapists actually. It took me a while to find one that was the right fit. I refused medication because I felt like I could control how I seemed to people, so I could leave my shit at the door and then go and perform on the stage. I couldn't risk losing the one part I felt like I did have control over. I've had to develop my own coping strategies and mechanisms to help me get through difficult times. My anxiety and low self-esteem, it means that I kind of don't trust myself at all with the real me around people. And that's not to say that I'm being a fake person. I just feel like 8 times out of 10, I have to put on the stage Jenny rather than the real Jenny. And even with my closest friends, I feel like I have to do that sometimes. And it's really exhausting. It's completely debilitating, and you can't leave the house. And the idea of seeing people that you love gives you complete fear. And I've only very recently experienced not being able to do my job because of my mental health. And that's never happened to me. And I've developed and grown so much in the past 10 years. And it's still got me, and it still caught me off guard that I couldn't do my job. And in terms of the band, it's been really tricky because all of us have our own demons and our own mental health struggles and things that we have to overcome every day. And when you're in the music industry, it's so difficult to allow them to be a part of your life because you're expected to be a certain person. There's so much expectation of you as a musician, you as a personality, you as a businesswoman, all of those things that they don't care. They don't care about your mental health. They just want you to deliver the thing. And that means that for all of us at different stages, and sometimes all at the same time, we've had our own mental health struggles. And trying to either rally each other on to do the thing, or to not get annoyed at someone for not doing the thing for the job, it really plays on your friendship, you know, more than anything else. And I know that Zan has already spoken about how it nearly broke the band, and it did. In any other situation, you can be more gentle with each other in these circumstances, but in a band, in the music industry, you just have to fight it or suppress it and then just get on with it. And I feel like we're in a place where we can really appreciate each other and what we love doing and channel that into our music rather than fight against it. The pressure is so high, and it's terrifying to see people get pushed to their limits and sometimes far beyond. So I'm just really grateful that we can see each other for who each other is and appreciate each other's mental health conditions and nurture them rather than fight them. Because otherwise it could be a totally different story.